episode of Hyper Heroes here on Hyper RPG. I need to.
What?
I'm playing. I have the chat room pulled up over here, so the stream started playing, and I was like, I don't want a bunch of sound coming out.
Oh
of this
yeah,
thing.
that's not good.
I'm super excited to be here to talk another week about stuff happening in the realm of superheroes. Thank you so much for joining us. I know for a lot of you East Coasters, it's quite late. It's about 12:30 in the AM.
People around the world, everybody
Thank
who's
you guys so much.
What's up, Eric, Gerald, Toner,
Charlie
Nona,
Barajas. What's
Ethan,
up, Ronan?
Seawolf, Movies.
What's up, Bert?
Bert and Ninja and Lucas.
Everyone's here. It's a real party.
Today. And Naeem, wherever he is.
Right next to you?
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was. Never mind. Just kidding.
No,
he's somewhere around here.
Corey, Cass,
What's
Turd.
up? What's up?
What's up, Turd?
Thank you guys so much
And
for
Jamaica
joining.
Hayes.
What's
Jamaica.
up? I know it's very late for a lot of you East Coasters and international people, but we appreciate you guys being here. It's always very exciting to be able to do this show live with you guys every single week. We have a good time doing the show.
It's a pleasure and a privilege.
Yes, it
to
is.
be here
Absolutely.
with
Whether
you
it's
wonderful
10 people,
people.
100, or 300, or just us three.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's
we love
true.
it.
Say what's
That's
up
why
to
we
Cass.
do it. It's fun.
The Cass in the
Hola,
Philippines.
Cass.
What's
Oh,
up, Cass?
What's up, Cass?
Yep.
It's late as heck.
It's late as heck.
It is late as heck.
Here in the
We're going to be
UK.
watching the trailer for Spider-Verse. We're going to be talking about
Ooh.
Disney Plus.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It got
Is that
real
what it's
heated
called?
on Twitter. Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Disney
Yeah, it
Plus?
got real heated on Twitter.
what's so
There's a
funny?
lot of bad blood at this table right now.
Here's bad blood.
We're so fucking pissed.
We're
at each
so
other.
mad.
Here's what's up. Here's what's going down with. This is just where
Who's the
we're
baby
at.
on the left, by the way? People are asking.
Who's the baby on the left, guys? It's basically back. Like y'all should have seen
It
me
took you 2
on
days.
Sunday. Yeah, it took me like 2 to 4 days
You need to
get
keep
it
that
back.
stash is what you need to do.
No,
Luigi!
Yes, you do.
Luigi!
I look like a cholo
That
fool.
stash is
Straight
where
up.
it's at, dude. You
Hello
got a
from India.
big old caterpillar
What's
on
up,
your lip.
killer? I
dog.
did.
Yeah.
I did. I
My name's Hector
like it,
Navarro.
but only for a day. Here's where Disney Plus is at for me.
Just
Plus
getting away from
Super
that.
Get
quick.
into it.
Super quick. I was at home watching a movie. I'm not gonna tell you which movie. Thor Ragnarok. And then Keller comes home and he starts talking to me about the news. You know, Cassian Andor TV show, along with like Star Wars shows, Mandalorian, Marvel shows, Scarlet Witch, Loki. Now, Winter Soldier and Falcon are gonna get a buddy team up show.
Yeah.
He says all this
Did we
stuff.
talk about that last week?
I don't
we did.
know.
Oh,
we
you weren't
did. We
here.
did. You weren't here last
That's
week.
right.
Yes, you
Ashley
guys
We
Robinson
talked about it
was
with
here.
Ashley. Yeah.
The
Yeah,
wonderful Ashley Robinson.
Yeah, she's
huge,
great.
Huge thanks for her to come and replace me on the show for a week.
Yeah.
She's the best. And but like Keller was asking me about this stuff, and then he interrupted, and he was like, "Disney Plus, we're gonna get that, right?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." It's like
It's not
It's
even a
already a done
question.
deal.
like
you-
one of those things would have made me be like, "Yeah, dude, yeah, we're gonna
course.
get that." And he's like,
Of
"Okay,
course.
cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Continue."
Yeah.
So
How do you feel
Yeah.
about
I don't know, man. Like,
because you
At
haven't
this
gotten
point-
DC Universe,
no, I haven't gotten DC
and I'm not
Universe.
trying to pressure you. Like I don't think it's for everybody.
Right.
And we're watching Titans once a week.
I think it is for me, but it's a matter of like all these streaming services coming
Yeah.
up.
yeah.
Like I already pay for Hulu, and I have I'm trying out PlayStation View right now,
Okay.
Mm.
just to like
that's
have
right.
that. Yeah.
What's PlayStation View?
It's
like the
basically
live
like
TV thing.
it's live TV.
That's right,
It's
that's
live
right.
TV, and it's actually pretty cool because their DVR settings are actually really cool.
It is really good.
And they have for their most basic service, they have the Science Channel. And probably one of my favorite shows of all time, which is How It's Made.
Mm.
I
yeah.
just
Nice.
binged that like,
And-
oh, stop.
I'm sure that's how you get your 90-day fiance.
That's how you get 90 days. I'm so addicted to that trashy shit. Oh my god, I'm talking people at work into
Oh my
watching that
God.
shit.
So what else do you?
It's such
what else
garbage.
you got Netflix. You got that.
I got
Hulu.
Netflix, I got Hulu, and I got View. But even now, I'm just like, okay, this is already like in
It's
the
a lot.
realm of like covering my needs as far as streaming services go.
yeah.
So as far as Disney goes,
Dude, can
the
I-
only way that I would get something else is to cut one other thing.
Sure.
I'll say get rid of Hulu.
Probably.
That's what I'm like.
That's the one we
like,
watch the
I'm
least.
always
It's gonna be
be
Disney owned soon anyway.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
I'm always gonna be loyal to Netflix, and thankfully I don't have Hulu, but like Keller does.
Yeah.
So it's on
Yeah.
our TV. So I'm like, okay, cool. Like it's that thing of one person in the household pays for a thing, and everybody
Yeah.
kind of chips
Yeah.
in or whatever.
It's
But
kind of my
very true.
situation, and so it's
Hulu-
kind of worked out for me.
Hulu and Amazon, I'm like, those are non-essentials for me.
I
But a lot
have
of people love-
Amazon Plus though.
Sure, Amazon
like,
Prime.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
Amazon
Sure,
Prime
Sure.
for the for obviously the shipping
Yeah.
version
Yeah,
of
yeah.
it, but I never watch anything on Amazon.
Dude, there's good shows on
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Amazon Prime. So, like, I have it as well,
Yeah.
and I wasn't, and then I started going through their catalog of movies. I'm like, they have some amazing
They have
stuff.
some good
for
stuff
sure.
on there.
Along with their, like, original
Mhm.
series
Right,
and
right.
movies and stuff. Yeah, like I think Amazon is kind of an underrated player.
Mhm.
Because I
Yeah.
think people forget that they have so much good stuff. Because like
Yeah.
when you say Amazon, that's not the first thing you think
It's
of.
shipping stuff.
Exactly.
For sure.
But
Well,
yeah, Amazon has a
I
lot of
think
cool
I think Cynthia and I have bad blood against it only because we were watching The Legend of Korra on there, and we were like, "Oh, it's good, it's good, it's good." I sucked her into getting into watching Legend of Korra,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Oh, Avatar's on here too." As soon as that's over, we're gonna get into Avatar, and then as soon
Oops.
as we finished Korra, they took Avatar off, and it's only
Mhm.
for rent or digital. So I'm just like,
Mm.
okay, so
All right.
all right,
Somebody's-
you're pulling this stuff.
Uberbaldi, no. Who said it in the chat? Real American says Netflix and HBO for Game of Thrones. HBO is another one I know people love. That's non-essential for me.
All right,
I'm
right,
like,
right.
I can, when a great HBO show comes along,
Yeah,
I'll check it out
yeah.
other ways or borrow it from people
Yeah.
or whatever. But I'm like, that's when I also don't pay for it.
Well-
Same, yeah, because there's nothing on HBO that I watch. Like,
Sure.
I don't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
If somebody has like the discs or someone
Right.
invites
Yeah,
me
yeah,
to
yeah.
come over and watch it, then I'll
and
totally
and
watch
there-
it.
and a lot of people have those discs. So
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it's not
Yeah.
one that I'm like,
And it's like the Watchmen series that's going to be coming out on HBO.
sure.
I can't justify getting HBO Go just for that.
Yeah.
Right.
If it were
yeah.
to show up in the DC Universe app, cool.
Yeah.
I would totally
Yeah.
be down.
For sure.
to
I
watch it.
remember we were
So-
having this conversation a long time ago. I think it was like on concession stand or something about
Mhm.
like that. When we were talking about like where are we coming close to that saturation point where like
Yeah.
everybody's offering streaming. Like remember CBS had like a streaming service
Oh,
for a
I
while.
still have that because
They,
Star
All
Wars-
access.
it's still on, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because that's
Okay.
what Star Trek is.
Yeah.
Right. So how do you guys feel now that everybody's trying to take $5.99
Well,
away from you every month?
Filmstruck went down.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
which sucks, not because I am a huge fan. It's actually a wonderful service,
Mhm.
but it is a very niche thing, which I
Sure.
think is fine. And
Mhm.
it's about film preservation, and it's a thing where me and Keller are using it for our podcast. And so when,
Right,
when
right.
we had an old movie, 1947's The Secret Life of Walter Mitty,
Mhm.
it's on there, and we're like, dope.
Oh.
And they, and we had a bunch of great stuff
Right.
to do there. But the bummer thing is that these huge companies are like consolidating. And they were
Uh-huh.
like, this isn't making us enough money. And it's
Right,
less
right,
about
right. Yeah.
film preservation, and that's really scary
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's scary because I think it's already getting to the point where these companies are realizing, like, we can't just make our own Netflix.
Right.
People aren't going to.
Right.
Everybody's spread so thin.
Right.
Mhm.
It's now more expensive to do that than fucking cable. We're just
Exactly.
gonna go back to one
Yeah.
company being
Exactly.
like, guys, hi, we're calling ourselves Blabel, and we're just collecting all of
All
these,
of them.
for a
Blabel.
cheaper rate. or whatever.
$200 a month for
Yeah.
access to everything.
And you're like, that's a good
"Oh."
deal.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a decent deal, guys.
So I
It's-
think we're
it's
already
the
at
same
that
thing,
point,
yeah.
and so it like hopefully without sacrificing like artistry and good content and
Yeah.
good and films and television or whatever, that like
Right.
hopefully these companies can instead of doing that,
Right.
like Nickelodeon, for example. Nickelodeon would have been a company that I would have been like, dude, if Nickelodeon had its own streaming thing
Dude.
with all of its content,
Yeah.
that's something I would look at. But
Yeah.
instead, Nickelodeon is making some shows for Netflix.
Mhm.
You know what I
Interesting.
mean? Like,
Yeah,
remember when
yeah.
when the Dreamcast was out, and then at the end of that, Sega was like, "All right, guys, next go around, we're not making another console. We're just gonna make games for Nintendo
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Xbox and PlayStation."
They
'cause
became
they're like, we
game
can't-
generating rather
Yeah,
than
and it's
console.
like-
yeah.
It's like maybe that's not a bad idea. Maybe that is a better way.
I mean, but
you
if
know?
you think about it, yeah, that is kind of the best way to do it. Just because I feel like the streaming services now, you're right. When you pull your bill together at the end of the month,
yeah,
people can only spend so much.
Exactly.
Like we're not including the 1% here, which can just buy everything.
sure.
Sure.
But we're including like probably the mass of people who can have to choose between like 1 to 3 streaming services.
Mhm.
And at that point, it's just like, okay, not everybody is going to be able to sign up to all their favorite things.
Mhm.
Like me, I have the means for it, but I don't even want to.
Mhm.
Like, I don't even want to have that bill
because
at
you
the
already
end
have
of the month.
enough stuff to watch. It's
Exactly.
not like you're like flip channel surfing. Like, I don't
Right.
know. Like, you got a bunch of stuff
Right?
already.
Yeah. Like all my needs are met as far as
Sure.
the current streaming services we have now.
Mhm.
So the only way to reach me at this point is to use those major platforms at this point.
What are you looking up, Adam?
I'm looking up. So the thing that I was like trying to figure out was, Filmstruck is owned by, I think it's owned by Warner Brothers. It's owned by Warner Media.
which is owned by like AT&T, I think.
Yeah.
That's who made the call.
So the thing that sucks about it is like, because Warner Brothers has HBO, I think isn't HBO's a Warner Brothers company, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know
I think
anything about
so.
their ownership. I could look it up
I
though.
think it is. I think it is.
so.
what I think would be smart is if Warner Brothers, for example, were to come out, because Warner Brothers is going to be making their own streaming service. I think it would be beneficial for them that like niche things like Filmstruck, like let's say you get a Warner Brothers digital subscription or whatever, and it includes like the entire Warner Brothers archive.
Warner Media.
Warner Media.
Okay, yeah. So I think it should include Filmstruck.
Yeah.
Like just port it over to whatever system that. I think I get it from a business perspective that they're like, this doesn't make enough money to justify keeping it alive. But I'm like, it's a very niche market.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I wouldn't even call it niche anymore though. Like I feel like
old movies.
I feel like there's enough people
out
out
Criterion.
there.
I mean, I think Criterion's a pretty niche market. Not that it's small, but it's a very particular.
Yeah, I
type
guess
of
you're
people
right.
who
I
are
guess
buying
it's
those
like
movies.
90% black and white movies on Filmstruck, and automatically there's a whole group of people that are like, no thanks, and it's like, well,
true.
they do have a bunch of classic stuff and hard to find stuff.
Yeah, I guess you just have to read your audience, and I guess there will be a point where some of these streaming services are going to fail, like Filmstruck, you know, which sucks because there's got to be some, like the Criterion Collection, there's got to be some backing behind it. Otherwise,
where's it going to go?
Why continue? Yeah, where's it going to go? What are you going to do with all this stuff if nobody's ever going to watch it?
Yeah.
So it's just it's weird to me that I have no doubts that this Disney service is not going to do well. Like it's going to be amazing
for sure.
I just don't think I'm going to sign up for it until like maybe they port like the Netflix Marvel universe over.
Sure, until they have a few years under their belt where they're like, we have this many shows. Remember all those shows we had at launch that you missed? Well, now you can catch up on that, and we keep putting new stuff on there.
Right.
Like the same with DC Universe. They have one original show right now. One, Titans. We're by like, I don't know,
4 episodes in.
Yeah, 4 episodes in, so 1/3 of the way done with
the
the
episode,
show.
Doom Patrol is really good.
It's really good, but it's like a lot of people were saying like, well, I'm going to wait until 2019 to maybe sign up because by then they'll be like Young Justice, Doom Patrol, Swamp Thing, you know, Harley Quinn, all the stuff that they promised, or they didn't promise, but at launch they're like, we're going to have all these shows over the next year.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
I mean, just like early Netflix, because early Netflix, when they started their streaming service, remember they even wanted to separate the two?
Yeah.
They wanted to separate the two because they want, and people got really mad because nobody knew what they were doing.
Hector called and went,
I need my discs in the mail.
He said, no.
I need
it. And so I think, so that's my thing. It's like the major platforms are there, and you can get the little things if you want, but there's going to be a saturation point with everybody.
Yeah. We're already getting there.
You know?
You're absolutely right.
The Annoying Ranter, thank you so much for the $5 tip. Hey, guys, if you already have Prime, don't skip on Marvelous Miss Maisel on Prime.
Oh, I watched the first season.
Things,
Not for me. It's a great show, but I watched the whole first season, and I was like, I think I'm okay.
Cynthia loved the show.
But
I was
great show.
Okay on it.
Yeah, it's tricky when there's a show based around here's a comedian.
Right.
And then when they write the improvised stand-up sets where they're supposed to crush, and I'm like, but that's not super funny.
But yeah,
like,
exactly.
The things that were happening in the episode earlier were funny. Like that's not. Yeah. It's always a little awkward
when they're on stage and telling funny jokes that you're not laughing. It's the same with
like when they had the shows. Well, 30 Rock is one, but 30 Rock I forgive because it was so zany that 30 Rock's sketches of its fake show, the girly show TGS, weren't that funny, but it's okay. Like I'm like, that's fine. Yeah. At the same year that 30 Rock premiered, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip premiered, which was like an Aaron Sorkin drama about an SNL type show. And the comedy in that was also unfunny.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, the behind the scenes stuff is good, but if you guys are like, and this show's about a comedian, but their jokes aren't all that funny. I'm like,
exactly.
Well then,
exactly.
You know.
So where's that? But people are able to see.
I still
past that and
like Gilmore Girls better. I think Gilmore Girls is a great show. If you've never seen it, it's from the same creator.
Never seen Gilmore
Amy Sherman
Girls.
Palladino, y'all. Get on that bun heads. I had a girlfriend in high school. I watched all of Gilmore Girls.
Oh God.
I hated Logan. Jess was the best for Rory.
Man.
Jess was the best.
I have no idea where the words that
I know, dude. I don't know how I know this.
Things are happening.
This is crazy.
It's just gibberish.
Do you
right
understand
now.
the words that are coming out of my mouth?
None whatsoever.
Gilmore Girls.
Oh my God, this is taking a turn. So speaking of the Disney streaming service, there was a stockholders meeting held today by Bob Iger, and he officially announced.
How do we learn this stuff? Because of stockholders?
Yeah. They have.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like some of those meetings, like I've seen links to those things where you can like be a part of it, and I don't know if it's.
So it's like a presentation.
Yeah,
basically.
it's like a presentation, but
right.
it's like via a conference, basically that you can like tune into.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
But Bob Iger officially announced that Disney Plus is the new streaming service that will be coming to. Well, I don't know where it's going to be. You'll probably be able to get it through.
This is what's gonna happen because Disney Plus,
Yeah.
they're gonna have money.
It'll
Of
be
course.
all over
So
everything.
it will
Disney
be
money.
on
PlayStation, Xbox.
It will be on PlayStation. It'll be on
Yeah.
Xbox.
Phone, your
it'll be on
iPad.
smart TVs.
It's
Yeah.
on
It'll
everything.
be on your phone.
It'll be on your Chromecast.
computer.
It'll be
Yeah.
in your brain.
Yeah, it'll be on your butt. Like it'll be
Mhm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's just gonna be
You just blink and
ubiquitous. Yeah,
We're gonna
it'll
go
be
to
there.
Disney and people are gonna be like, Disney Plus,
it'll be there.
Disney
There you
Plus,
go,
Take it, take it, take it, take it,
Disney
take it,
Plus,
take it. There you go.
Disney Plus free
Here's a
trial,
pass. Here's a pass.
Free
Go.
trial, free trial,
free
yeah,
trial, free trial.
yeah.
Disney Pass,
Yep.
Disney Plus.
Yep. That's how it's gonna be.
God.
That was the gentleman that hand out prostitute cards at Vegas. That's the joke we just made. Is that it's gonna be those guys at Disneyland.
Sweet Jesus.
Disney Plus, Disney
It's gonna
Plus.
be littered all over
This
the
is not
floor.
Yeah.
someone making delicious tortillas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, not like that.
But
Oh,
instead
good
of
Lord.
prostitutes, it's gonna be like Merida from Brave and like Scarlet Witch and
It's
all on
gonna
the
be just
ground.
all
Good
Frozen
Lord.
stuff. It's just gonna
Frozen,
be all
yeah,
Frozen.
Elsa and Anna.
So he announced that this streaming service is going to be coming late next year, which means that we should be looking forward to all of these shows that they've announced coming sometime late next year.
Yeah.
One of the two shows that they did announce, they announced a whole bunch of stuff. If you want to go
Right.
look at Variety or any other articles, they announced a whole bunch of stuff. But the two that we're going to focus on, one of them has the most information, and one of them, they didn't really give us any information other than that it's going to go into production next year. But the first thing we're going to talk about is Cassian Andor. Diego Luna is getting his own spin-off Star Wars digital series on
Yeah,
Disney
boy.
Plus.
Yes.
It's going to be going into production sometime next year.
Orale.
I imagine it will premiere on. I imagine it'll premiere on the Disney streaming platform on Disney Plus sometime at the end of the year, or maybe sometime in 2020. We also do have
Yeah.
The Mandalorian, which is currently in production.
Mhm.
That will, I would be very shocked if that did not premiere the
Mhm.
day that streaming service goes live. Kind of
Agreed.
like what they did.
Yeah.
Well, Titans is
Yeah.
a little bit different. It was delayed by about a month. I think
Mm.
the point was for Warner Brothers or DC to give people sort of a month to explore everything that's in like the old catalog,
Mhm.
and then
Right.
give them something new. Whereas I think Disney, I think they're gonna come out of the gates just like
Swinging.
new Star Wars show, new
Straight
Marvel
swinging,
show, new
dog.
this, new that.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Yeah,
be swinging
yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
I like how Hector gets real Mexican when this
He
news
sees
is
Diego Luna.
announced.
He's like, "Órale, man.
Órale.
Órale, mi chico."
Oye,
He's here.
listen, hey, for real
Órale,
though,
but
dude.
for real, dog.
Hey, but for real, that's
But
that's
for
tight,
real,
dude.
That's so tight. That's
That's
firme.
tight,
That's
fool.
firme, Holmes.
That's firme, Holmes. Oh, hang on, let me. Well, I'm not wearing
no,
a shirt
just
under
button
this.
the top.
No, I'm
Just
not.
button-
I'm not
oh,
wearing.
oh, you
a
don't
shirt,
have a
so
shirt under,
It'll just
okay.
be like my bare chest.
So Hector's excited.
I am excited. No, we had a great back and forth on Twitter today.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
obviously
By the
you
way, I like
guys.
to say I love how everyone thinks that it's like a
Oh my
bloodbath.
god,
I know,
it's so
I
fun.
know.
No, most people were having fun and they were grabbing
Yeah,
their like
that's true.
popcorn gifts and
Yeah.
shit. But like, I think you guys absolutely make great points. The points of like we don't want the same characters and stories.
Right.
We want new stuff, which I
Mhm.
totally get and I agree with. And I think that it is. I think I saw a lot of guys kind of echoing your sentiments today. A lot of like websites and stuff. I know Nerdist put up a thing that was like Star Wars is going to suffocate us with nostalgia if it
Mhm.
doesn't try to make new stuff, new
Mhm.
stuff. And I just feel like it's this conversation came up maybe not so much with Rogue One,
Mhm.
but a little bit. It came up a lot with Solo.
Well, I think with Rogue One
know,
it was different because it was the
first spin-off.
Right. Right.
For sure.
So we were
sure.
like, just hit us with
For
something
sure.
good.
Right,
There was also
right.
the same discussions even with Force Awakens with like
Yeah.
Han and Chewie and blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
Not so much with The Last Jedi because I feel like Last Jedi was so kind of new and different while still
Mhm.
being
Right.
classic Star
Right.
Wars stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that this conversation has been happening with with the saga with Star Wars.
Yeah.
I think that the fact that we haven't had a Solo 2 announced means like
Yeah.
no, truly means
No,
that
yeah, I know.
you could tell, you could watch that movie and you could I think you can watch it and go, I feel like they got everybody because they wanted to get 3 out of these people.
Yeah.
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 Out of the
sure.
creative team and out of the actors especially. And the actors are fantastic, so why would not you want Donald Glover to come back 2 more times?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I think the fact that they have not announced that yet in like in the movie after in the year after episode 9
Yeah.
or whatever means like I really do think they saw the success or failure of Solo and they step back and like maybe we're not just going to do the same sort of stuff blah blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
Right. Right.
I mean, and again, just to kind of sum up, here's like what are we getting all Star Wars for sure that we know? Episode 9.
Mm-hmm.
Then the year after that, no movie announced,
Yeah.
but
Mhm.
apparently in the works, apparently maybe Obi-Wan, maybe like that may have gone away. Boba Fett may have gone away because now it's
Boba
the
Fett's gone,
Mandalorian.
yeah.
Boba Fett's gone. Now it's the Mandalorian.
Mm.
Mandalorian TV show set between 6 and 7. Kind of new, kind of old,
Yes.
right?
7 years after 6, I think.
7 years after Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
We got the animation Star Wars
Resistance.
Resistance right now.
Just started. Yeah.
New stuff. mostly set in the new saga era with
it's after episode
Poe.
6. Or it's
it's
a couple
before,
years before episode 7, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we got Poe Dameron, Captain Phasma, whatever.
Which, like, I'm into that because it's
Sure.
that thing that we talk about of, like, even though it takes place between 2 saga movies, we've never explored that territory before.
For sure. And animation and comic books are going to be different than people will always look at movies and TV shows, live action stuff.
Yeah.
But then on that front, we still have Ryan Johnson, or a trilogy of new whatever we know nothing about. And then the Game of Thrones people trilogy that we know nothing about.
Right.
So far, it's mostly new stuff.
Yeah.
And Ryan Johnson's currently casting a new movie that he's about to go shoot.
Right.
So
and then
he's
after
not,
that,
so he's not even working on Star Wars right now.
Gonna do Star Wars. But like the thing I really like about this news is it's kind of like how Agent Carter got a show.
Right.
As opposed to a spin-off movie. Not that I don't think Peggy Carter deserved a movie. Haley Atwell, I love that character. I love that actress so much. But I think it makes sense to take a character who was in one movie, but not the whole kind of like the main character of the movie, and to give him a few seasons of a TV show. Especially with Disney Plus and Marvel announcing Loki, Scarlet Witch. I'm watching the movies and I'm like, I think there's other characters you can give them either Marvel one-shots, a 4-episode miniseries, an 8-episode miniseries, maybe like a 12 or 13 episode, mostly kind of keep it small. But with this Cassian Andor thing, it's not a movie, it's a TV show. And it's a character that I feel like a lot of people, like our buddy Lon Harris, had a nice little critique where he was like, "Can't wait to watch the show about Chewbacca's belt and about like
that's
Chip
exactly
or the
Delicious
song or whatever."
Delicious Crumb
Yeah,
trilogy.
and I'm like that's kind of to me a little bit dismissive though, because I get the knee jerk reaction of like, oh, but we've seen this shit before. But I feel like Cassian Andor as a character is a great character to try to do this with, because himself as a character unexplored.
Right.
I don't want to see Skywalkers again. I don't want to see, like Rey, she has movies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Cassian, I feel like is I think people are just being a little bit dismissive of what they did with that character and with that actor. However you feel about Rogue One, I don't know too many people that are like, Diego Luna's a bad actor and his character was dumb.
He's not.
I'm like, I think everybody agrees solid actor. He obviously loved doing that character. Like to see him do press is like half of the joy.
It's like
of
a
Rogue
kid
One. Amazing.
going and like reliving his dreams.
For sure.
Yeah.
And a character who, to me, in that movie was super interesting, and we saw a little bit of, and then he died. So it's kind of this Agent Carter thing of like, oh, she couldn't be in Cap 2 because he's going to be in the year 2014, and she's 80. But this is like, oh, we're basically having your cake and eating it too. I hope we get new stuff in this as well. I hope we get more representation. I hope we get da-da-da-da. But I am excited just because I really like that character. If this had been a Chirrut Imwe and Baze Malbus show, I would have been like, cool, where's Cassian Andor? Like I love those are great characters, but I still feel less like there's interesting stuff. I feel like I pretty much got what I got from most of the characters in Rogue One. Honestly, Bodhi Rook, I'm like, great character. I don't want to see him just be an Imperial pilot, Like Jyn Erso, great character, got her story, got the whole. I read a book about her. I'm like, I got it. I got the whole thing.
Right.
Like Mads Mikkelsen in that movie, awesome. Don't need the Galen Erso movie, or the show, got it. Story done. But Cassian, anyway, I'm excited. That's my pitch. How do you guys feel about it?
I have 2 different hats on this. If I put on my nerd hat, I feel like it's the saturation point. I feel like we're me personally, I've been asking for a lot of new things, and I feel like I can ask for these new things because they've taken risks on people. They've done the Clone Wars. They did the 2 Clone Wars. Genndy did the best representation of Star Wars in my opinion. They've done Rebels. They're doing this new Alliance show. What's it called? Alliance? The new
Resistance show. Yeah.
They're doing the Resistance show. They took a huge risk on Rogue One. Like people counted this movie out way before it was even out, or people even really discovered it in the mainstream. And they all did killer. And so at this point, I'm just like, okay, cool. That's good momentum to keep going. But they're holding on to their nostalgia train so damn hard that I'm just like, I feel like this is limiting things for a potential universe, because I see so much potential in this universe that I feel like there's so many other things we could do. But once I put on my essay hat, I'm like, "Orale, that's dope, Holmes. Like, we gotta
It's
keep,
cool.
we gotta keep Diego in the
It's cool.
mainstream. Like,
You know, people
he's
were
gotta.
people
My
were
grandma needs to know his
Yeah.
name. Like,
people were
everything.
spitballing. They're like, maybe Jimmy Smits could be in this, and Jimmy
That's what I'm
Smits is
saying.
one of the best things about the
Adam
prequels.
had a good idea. Gael Garcia could be in the show.
Could
Like,
be in. Yeah, that
we
was a great
could-
idea
We could,
for sure.
We could have like a huge, like, let's have just beautiful brown people in this cast. Like,
Mhm.
not just Latinos,
like
but like
the way the
everybody.
new movies have been doing. Like honestly, since 2015, I feel
Right.
like Star Wars TV, even the comics, even though the comics keep going back to that same well, one of the first things the comics did was like, Han Solo married a black woman, and everyone was like, "Whoa, who's this character?
Right,
That's
right,
cool."
Right.
So
Exactly.
yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
No, yeah. So that's what I'm battling with, and that's what I'm just like. There's two ways to look at it, and there's no right way, because at the end of the day, Bob Iger did not make this call because of La Raza. Like, he's not
Yeah.
looking out for us brown people. He's
Sure.
looking out for his bottom line, and
Sure.
he knows that this movie did exceptionally well. He probably knows which markets that did what character got the most traction. It was probably Diego Luna, and it was probably with the Mexican audience
Oh, for
that
sure.
really latched
Which is
onto
a
this
huge
character.
Percentage of movie-going audiences.
Mexican fans
Yeah.
are rabid
Yeah.
Star Wars fans. Like,
Yeah.
it is in the culture. I've told you guys of what they call R2D2 in Spanish, right?
You have, but mention
It's,
it again.
it's Arturito.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
Arturito because
Arturito.
they couldn't say R2D2.
Yes.
But they love Arturito. Like,
Yeah.
he's like the man of it. So it's just
Uh.
it's things like that like we are such deep fans of this, and I'm hoping for the best for this show. Like, I want everybody to
Uber.
do well. What
I
do you think?
prefer if it is directed by Garlic Del Taco.
Yeah.
We should explain that
Blurmer to Termer.
in case people are like, this guy Uber Baldi's pretty racist.
That's-
That's a joke.
That's
we,
yeah.
we did.
Don't call out Ubaldi. That's an old inside joke. Old inside
just
joke.
We
come
haven't
up with
done
the-
that in a long time.
with
Yeah, I
the best
know.
GDT names
Yeah.
that were gibberish,
That's right.
random words.
But yeah, what about you, Adam?
I'm kind of wearing two hats on this, but I'm mostly on the side of I don't want them to continue making stuff based on characters that we know, that we love, especially characters that we know the fate of them.
Right.
Like, we know
Right,
Cassian
right.
dies, so it's like
yeah,
there's an interesting. It's kind of like the Darth Vader thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like we went back and we told the story of Darth
Mhm.
Vader, and
Yeah.
those movies are those movies, but at the same time, I'm like, it's not that interesting. Like, Clone Wars to me was interesting because it explored Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship,
right.
but it also focused on a bunch of other characters.
Right.
We
They
got
went to
see-
a bunch of different places.
Yeah,
right.
different worlds.
Yeah.
Kit Fisto, like Mace Windu, Yoda, all these other characters.
To me, that show gave the Clone Wars actual meaning,
Yeah.
rather than like, oh, the political
Yeah,
bullshit
yeah.
going on, like the Senate, and fuck that bullshit.
Yeah,
But
It's
yeah,
true.
keep going.
But I feel like Star Wars has good and bad examples of doing that.
It
the,
does.
The bad
Yeah.
examples are
Yeah.
the prequel movies, not great execution.
yeah.
The Clone Wars,
Even
good
Clone Wars, the
execution.
movie, was not that good.
No, no,
Right.
no.
Right.
But I would argue that Rogue One, at least to me, made it, like, it did the good thing that a good prequel should do, where it's like it still tells a compelling story, even if you do know those characters'
Right.
fates because you're really seeped in the
Yeah.
lore.
Yeah.
I still got invested in those characters, and I was
Right.
still rooting for them because it became this heist movie.
yeah.
And then when I pop in New Hope, when they're like, the rebellion, there was a brave group that got that. Like, that's more impactful to me now when
Yeah.
I watch it. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like it
I-
still is
I
able
get it
to,
too.
yeah, it's still able to make the original
Yeah.
thing.
Right.
You got to bring something new to the table. If this show will do its job, the next time you
Right.
watch Rogue One after the show, you'll be like, oh fuck, dude, now I know what Cassian went through.
Yeah.
If it does a good job, but
Right.
it could also not.
But that's I think
Yeah.
what Adam is talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, and I think my big concern too is they continue to make so, like, The Mandalorian is the one thing live action that's like, oh, we're not doing something that
Mhm.
takes place between episodes 3 and 4.
Right.
Like, how much longer do we want to continue to mine that time period?
Sure.
Solo, potential Solo sequels.
Right.
They brought back Darth Maul.
Right.
Whether or not an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie ever happens, at this point, honestly, I kind of don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
I would give up an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie to have something new
A
and a
Knights
different.
of the Old
Yeah.
Republic movie.
Mm.
Dude, if they were like,
Yeah.
Gael Garcia Bernal is going to headline a Knights of the Old Republic movie, I'd be like,
Kotor.
thank God.
Yeah.
Finally something that's different. Because,
Yeah.
like, it's not that I have anything against the original trilogy timeline or the timeline of the
Right.
Skywalkers. I just want the mainstream audience to understand that there is more to Star Wars, and
I
that
agree.
Disney
I
and
agree.
Lucasfilm is confident in the property to do other things other than just doing stuff that's set in a time period
Yeah.
that we're comfortable with.
Mhm.
Like, I think it's totally fine, and I think part of it, honestly, is like a lot of it is branding.
Yeah.
Like, they
I
rely
agree.
so heavily on, like, X-wings and lightsabers and
Right,
TIE
True.
fighters
That
and
is
the
true.
Empire. So it's like they want that image of
Millennium
Star
Falcon.
Wars.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want
Yeah.
sort of that nostalgic
Yeah.
look of Star Wars to sort of
Yeah.
remain with modern
But
audiences,
you-
so they're not turned away by it.
You bring up a good point. How far can you push it before it's thank you so much, annoying ranter?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Annoying
Do
ranter.
you want to read that
Yeah,
comment?
Yeah,
I
we'll
agree
read
with you
that.
guys. I'm from Puerto Rico, and I love that my boy Diego Luna is getting recognition, but I want new stuff too. We already made Black Panther a sensation. Now give me White Tiger.
Oh, snap, son.
Ooh.
Oh,
Ooh.
oh,
Either
yeah.
version of the White Tiger,
Mhm.
Either
Hector
version.
or
Hector or
yeah.
Ava
Ayala.
Ayala. Well, you bring up the question. The concern is like, how far can you push it within this world before it's no longer Star Wars?
It's only
Exactly.
64 years of Star Wars history.
If you're not counting Legends stuff, if you're not
Right,
counting Knights of the
exactly.
Old Republic, which goes
Right.
thousands of years,
yeah.
or
Yeah.
old Dark Horse comics like Star Wars Legacy, which go like 1,000 years in the
Yeah.
future
Yeah.
or some bullshit. It's
Yeah.
like, and even those eras, you've got lightsabers, you've got planets,
Yeah.
you've got being able to travel between
Space
planets,
travel, yeah.
space, ships.
Mhm.
But like, how far can you push it before audiences don't recognize it or or they don't like it?
Mhm.
I am a big fan of the evolution of the stormtroopers.
Right.
Yeah.
But when Force Awakens came out, a lot of people were like, "That shit looks like an Apple Store. I don't like it." And it's
Yeah,
like, and
yeah,
J.J.
with
Abrams was
the
like, "Yeah,
new-
it looks like an Apple
Of
Store. Like we
course.
tried to evolve the
Yeah.
armor in the way that we thought technology would sort of,
Right,
in
right.
this world or whatever." But that's an interesting problem to try to figure out. Is like, yeah, let's say you do a movie 100 years in the future.
Right.
How
What's
do you
it gonna
how do you
look like?
sell that?
Yeah.
Who's in that? Is there anybody alive? How do
Right.
you what's it going to look like?
Yep.
And how do you make
Yeah.
it still Star Wars, but still like
Yeah.
distinctly like 100 years in the future,
For
or
sure.
Knights of the
Right.
Republic? How's that? It's just is it
it's
going to be
tough.
just
I think
Jedi robes?
I think it really comes down to compelling characters and visually. Like there are visual similarities that you can put into like the prequels, as like flawed
Yeah.
as I think they are.
Yeah.
There are things that they did in even Episode 1, which is 32 years before Episode 4.
Yeah.
The ships look different, but there's still like a feeling about it,
Sure.
a familiarity that you're like, okay, this is disconnected enough
Yeah.
that like this still feels like Star. Like you have
Right.
elements like blasters, lightsabers.
Mhm.
You know, you have
it's
vehicles
true.
that hover. It's got that
It's
Star
still-
Wars fantasy feel to
The
it.
interesting thing about that though is it's really only a generation before,
Yeah.
Right.
like one generation. So my thing with the prequels is I totally agree, but even then I still feel like those movies didn't do a good enough job of blending.
Sure.
We all know
Yeah.
when we got to Revenge
Yeah.
of the Sith, it's
Yeah,
all
yeah.
CG lava, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden they're in that 70s spaceship, and I was like,
Right.
y'all are trying to catch up to
Yeah.
New Hope, like way
With
too
no
like
You still got
context,
20
yeah.
years.
that's jarring.
I-
yeah,
Yeah.
but even then I'm like, stuff that was happening in New Hope, those ships, those planets, those people had been some of them must have been alive for 30 years,
Right,
longer
right,
than
right.
when
Yeah.
the rebellion started. So
Right.
it's going to be it's interesting to see like what people accept,
Yeah.
what they want.
Well,
you
that's a funny conversation because that's something you bring up is Star Wars suffering from its own success. Like the first 3 films in the 70s were such a departure from anything. Nobody believed in these movies.
Yeah.
Nobody believed
Especially
that
that
like
first one.
yeah, nobody believed or believed that anybody wanted to see anything like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But George Lucas was like, "No, I got a vision. I got to tell this story."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, like and I feel like nowadays Disney is so afraid of going away from those basic things that were put out in this movie that I don't know if we are ever going to get like a Star Wars movie that gives you those feelings like we did initially.
Yeah.
Which is why I like Gendy's take so much because
Uh-huh.
his is like silent. He's like, we're not even talking in this movie.
Uh-huh.
We're just badass Jedis who are gonna get shit done. And
Mhm.
so I feel like they're stuck in their own bubble that they're afraid to pop, but I feel like needs to pop in order for Star Wars to continue for future generations to
Yeah.
where because I feel like it's really stale right now.
Yeah,
you
and I
know?
think like Ryan Johnson tried to push the story in that sort of a direction by doing something a little bit different, unconventional.
yeah,
But I think like visually, I think it also needs to
yeah, it needs
evolve.
to change. Yeah,
because
absolutely.
I mean, you look at potential series, Star Wars Rebels, Solo,
Mhm.
and Rogue One.
Mhm.
Generally, like it all looks
Like
very
the original
similar
trilogy.
because
You
it's
could-
all
You
sort
can
of playing
knock
off
those
of a New
into
Hope.
each one of each
Mhm.
other. It's
Yeah.
just you're absolutely right. The aesthetics are the same, and that's the problem. When they came out in the 70s, nobody had ever seen anything like
Yeah.
that before. You know?
I think it would be really ballsy if they got a filmmaker or somebody who is willing to do a Star Wars movie. Honestly, because the universe is so big, even if you did set it within the same timeline, but it was in such a different part of the universe
Right.
that like
That it
you
doesn't look the
can-
same.
Galaxy, not
Galaxy.
universe,
Yeah,
galaxy.
galaxy.
You can
It's our universe.
Yeah.
but
You-
it happened a long time ago.
In
you
a
can
galaxy
make it
far, far away.
feel different.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know, so I would like that, and I think also
Right.
because what happens with the Skywalker story, because of how much it affects the entire Star Wars world,
Mhm,
the empire, the
mhm,
fall,
mhm.
Yeah.
the fall of the Empire, and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
I would like to get away, or actually the rise and the fall of the Empire.
Right.
I want to sort of stay away from that as much as possible.
Yeah.
Not have that really influence the story,
Right.
because like in Solo, it's very much a part of the story.
I know.
In
Yeah.
Rogue One, it is the story.
It is
Yeah.
the story. yeah.
Mandalorian, the thing that I hope will happen is we don't worry about the rise of the First Order.
Yeah.
It's very
Right.
much like
He's doing his own thing.
self-contained story about the Mandalorian character. We're following this bounty hunter
Yeah.
and like going into the deep, like dark realm of Star Wars and like
Mhm.
Assassinating
focusing.
people. and
yeah,
just,
like not focusing on what
Yeah.
happened with the Empire. I'm sure they'll mention it,
Right.
Mhm.
but like I don't necessarily want to deal with that. I don't want the First Order to be a part of it.
Right.
You know,
right,
I don't
right.
even honestly want the Rebellion or the New Republic to play much of
Correct.
a role in it.
I don't want those questions asked of like, how did Snoke rise
Right.
to power? I'm like, I don't give
And
a
like
shit.
my hope with
Nobody
this,
cares.
the thing that would win me over with this is if it is very much like underground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's
Yeah.
Dude, the
doing
way
what Mandalorian is, but like new characters, new worlds, and not focusing on the Rebellion or
Yes.
the Galactic
Yeah.
Empire
Every-
or Vader or Palpatine.
everybody's pretty much calling it, and I think it is going to happen. I think Jabba's going to be in the show somehow, which to me is Underworld, which to me is Outer Rim Planets, which to me is like, yeah, you can do. I feel like there's a totally awesome version of that show with one episode where Jabba the Hutt shows up and Diego Luna gets to
Gets to touch him.
touch him, gets to interact with Jabba.
No, he physically
While
wants
still-
to touch him.
Yeah, he does. He does want to touch him while still not being like weighed down by it. And then the other
Sure.
thing too, hopefully Mandalorian gives you everything you want. Hopefully by then we get
Yeah.
some news of like, here's what Ryan Johnson's trilogy is going to be. Here's what the Game of Thrones people's
Yeah.
movies are going to be.
Yeah.
That you'll be inundated with new shit. That by the time
Right.
Diego Luna show
That's
comes
what
out,
I'm hoping.
you're like you watching Cassian and you're like, this is great. This is
This feels
great.
good.
And then when one nostalgic thing hits that right perfect thing, that's more organic than when they ran into the two guys in
Mhm.
Jeddah that were like, hey, I don't like you either.
Yeah,
and they're
yeah.
like,
Right,
you're gonna
right.
go to the bar with Luke. Like
Yeah.
even more organic than that, which was not.
Right.
That you'll just be like, oh yeah, that's cool. I like
remember that.
because you're getting your
Yeah.
new shit, and then you go back to Cassian and you're like, where did they say they were going?
Yeah.
Tatooine. Oh, cool. Like enough,
Yeah,
enough, but
yeah.
not
No, I agree.
fucking hitting you over the head.
No,
with
I
it.
agree, and that's what I was thinking too after our Twitter argument where
Yeah.
we were so mad at each other for.
We hated each
we
other.
hated
Hate
each
it.
other.
Dude.
Pacers.
So-
People don't
I
know,
w-
but we were texting each other. Fuck you, fuck you, dude.
I'm quitting. No, you're
I
quitting.
like-
no,
we were
I'm
back
quitting.
on Twitter.
I
like,
texted you
listen,
all pictures of my butthole,
here's my
like
case.
it was
Yeah.
it was that bad.
like, suck my butthole, and
Yeah,
I was like,
suck my
fucking
butthole, guys. Yeah,
snap,
we
take
all.
that.
It was just that's how angry we were. But
Yeah.
like as soon as I started thinking about like the possibilities that this show could bring,
Mhm.
it started making me a little bit more optimistic as to like maybe this isn't going to be a straight up nostalgia fest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully we get to.
He's a dark character, dude.
He is well. I mean,
He shot that guy.
Well, my
but
worries-
also when you were like,
Yeah.
I've been in this since I was 6 years old.
Dude.
Like, what happened when he was 6 years old
Yeah.
to push him into this resistance thing? Like,
yeah.
is this a superhero thing where he like his family gets killed or what? Like, what's going on here? So
Yeah, and like a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about, like most of my stuff doesn't necessarily come from the character or the actor. It's mostly on Disney.
It's the decision
It's
of
the
right,
decision
right.
of like
Rogue One
we got to
spinoff.
be people of the head with things that they
Yeah.
love.
yeah,
Mhm.
But what if people want new stuff? Like we think for the majority audience, it's better if we kind of stick to what people know
Right,
because
right,
it'll make
right.
them feel good.
yeah.
And I'm
yeah.
like, no, man, like do
Yeah.
something
right,
else.
right.
Like
I
get
agree.
out of there. That's why,
Yeah.
honestly, like if they were like, you know what, we're not gonna do an Obi-Wan movie. We're gonna do Knights of the Old Republic instead. I'm like,
Mhm.
thank you.
Right.
Just do it.
Right.
Just do it. I'm fine with it. But
Yeah.
we'll see. I mean, you know, it really
Maybe
depends
you
on
and
what they do.
McGregor could just show up in this in one episode. Do you know what I'm saying? And then that's it. And then you get your nut, and then you're like, cool. I don't have to see an Obi-Wan movie.
Right,
but
right,
just
right,
one,
yeah.
like one 40-minute episode where 20 minutes of it is
Yeah.
like, I have to go see this whole crazy wizard on this
Yeah. Right,
planet. I don't
right.
want to be out here. What I have to come out here?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then he goes and it's like, hello there.
I feel like
and you're
he's
like,
secretly pitching himself to be Diego
know.
Luna's like stuntman.
like his
Yeah,
little
a
brother.
silly
No,
stand-in.
like Diego Luna's little brother.
That's right.
Cassian, where are you going?
Don't leave me, hermano.
Hector,
And
stay
then-
here.
And then you pass away or
And
something.
then the house explodes, and he's like,
Yeah.
no!
and you go, ay.
I also don't want the series to.
Hermano.
I also don't want the series to just feel like it's a live action TV version of like Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Rebels hit every
Right.
sort of thing so well.
And had Lando in that,
It
and
did.
had episodes where you were like, oh shit, oh
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
oh shit,
Yeah.
but it was
Yeah.
still that core cast,
Mhm.
and it absolutely balanced the nostalgia with new stuff.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
we'll see. I hate being a Star Wars fan who's like not optimistic or not. I don't want to say optimistic, but not like excited about a thing.
Sure.
You know, like I want to be excited about everything, but sometimes I'm like, oh man, are we doing this thing because
Yeah.
people like love this one thing? So now it's like, let's latch on to it.
Welcome
they're in
to
their
It's like
bubble.
people love
Yeah.
the Death Star. Let's
They're
do
in their
Rogue
bubble.
One. It's
welcome
like,
to being a Batman fan, dude.
Oh, I know.
yeah,
and that's the thing.
You're like, we're getting another Batman thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Damn
that's
it.
the
I
thing that
love
always
him,
worries
but
me. It's like,
fuck.
dude, it's
Yeah.
like we need to get out of this thing.
Yeah.
Even this
Yeah.
next thing, even the fall thing we're going to talk about. The Marvel announced that the Loki series will be happening. It'll be Tom Hiddleston returning to play the character of Loki.
Adoy.
We don't know when this is going to take place. It could take place after Infinity War if the Avengers 4 story
It
somehow
can take place
changes
at
the
any
death of
point in
Loki.
time because Loki doesn't die. And he's always
Exactly,
around
like
and
this thing
just-
could take place.
Yeah.
Another story that take place 100 years before the events of the Avengers, whatever it ends up being.
Mhm.
It's another one of those things, and again, it's only in development. We have no other details. We don't know when it's going to premiere. We don't know any story stuff at all. It's another one of those things of like I'm excited for. I'm potentially excited about like things like Scarlet Witch and Vision,
Mhm.
Bucky and Falcon, Loki. But it's another one of those things of like I get that those characters don't have expanded huge primary roles in the movies,
Mhm.
Mhm.
but I think those characters are served very well in the movies that they're in.
Right.
Like
I would agree with that.
you know,
Right,
like
right,
I
right.
don't. There's-
Except I'll have one disagreement
Sure.
when it comes to Loki, but it actually is something that's like
Mhm.
the Tom Hiddleston Loki, the most well serviced
Yeah.
in the movies. The
Yeah.
only thing I would say about Loki that I still want to see is like bring back Loki as a woman
Mhm.
or bring back Loki as a 13-year-old kid. But that's not Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah.
Again, Tom Hiddleston's Loki story is like it came to a satisfying conclusion. I
mhm.
just watched Thor Ragnarok again tonight, and
Yeah.
I think he might be the best in that
Mhm.
than any of the other two movies or Avengers movie.
Right.
And I totally get that. And
Yeah.
and only if the pitch is again, this is like Krypton. When we were like Krypton, really? And then they're like, but
Mhm.
time travel. If the pitch in this is something maybe to do with time travel, or if the pitch once we get information, which is basically I want all of the Asgardians to come back, including like I just want Thor to be the new
Mhm.
Odin and for
Yeah.
him to resurrect the Asgardians,
Yeah.
but to bring back Loki in the body of a woman or a little kid.
Right.
But I'm like, I think I'm fine with Tom Hiddleston being done.
Me too.
Uh,
Absolutely.
So, but I
I'm-
also love Tom Hiddleston as Loki.
I'm gonna get lit up on the internet, but I honestly don't get the rabid fandom behind Loki.
Oh, you're
don't.
just not a part of it, but you get it. Look
I-
at him, dude. Look at that man. Look at him.
He-
And
he looks like Bill Jackson.
yes,
He does.
yes,
he looks
does.
like Bill Jackson.
But let me tell you why Tumblr fucking loves Loki.
I
Why they
know.
eat him up.
I
Because
know.
Tumblr are young people,
Right.
and young people, young men, young women, when they see this character who
Right.
is the outsider brother,
Mhm.
but he's still kind of hot, but he's still like a bad boy, dark goth. Dude, that's the perfect ingredients for why Tumblr fucking loves Loki. Like why the internet loves
Bob
Loki.
Hiker opened Tumblr and he went.
Yes.
"We're
I'm
making a
not.
Loki
It
I'm
show."
makes
not a
sense.
part of that club.
Exactly.
Is what I'm saying.
But I
is
get
that
it. But it makes sense that Disney's like, we need Tom Hiddleston on this
Right,
thing because
right,
all the
exactly.
13-year-olds will be like, Mom, we need this. We gotta
Yeah.
sign up for it.
I look. I love Loki. He was a
Mom,
character-
the Loki.
the Loki. It's a character that I didn't think
Get
I
it.
was gonna care about that much, but because Tom Hiddleston played it so well,
Yeah.
Right.
and
right.
like even just when he went to Comic-Con that one year and he came dressed as Loki,
yeah.
like
It was
that
awesome.
presence
That's
was
cool.
incredible.
It's cool.
He's
And
got,
I'm-
he does have that like Freddie Mercury thing where he can command a
Yes,
huge
I
audience.
agree 100%, and I do agree with you, Hector, that he is the best service villain in the MCU. The rabid fandom behind it to justify this kind of show
Yeah.
is what I don't understand. It's like, I mean, I get it. Disney seeing dollar bills because that's what these characters were made
Mhm.
for, obviously. But for me, it's not a draw to go and try to get that Disney Plus service. You
Mhm.
know, like
Mhm.
if they're bringing this there, they're just dropping this news so that we can have this conversation. I don't see it. I don't
Yeah, it's
because
another
I'm
one-
not seeing the money at the end though. That's
Yeah,
where
it's
I'm just like,
it's another one of those situations of like the same thing with Cassie and same thing with Scarlet Witch and Bucky and Falcon. It's
Yeah.
one of those things of like I feel like these characters, like the Winter Soldier, is probably still my I'd probably say it's still my favorite movie in the MCU. And like I think Sebastian Stan was fantastic in that movie. He played Bucky so incredibly well.
Mhm.
They gave Bucky such an amazing story. And I think it could be fun to see the adventures of Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And I like, but where would that would have that again? That's stuff that has to take place after Infinity War.
Yes,
Right,
agreed.
So it's
right.
Agreed.
do we need to continue the adventures of these characters? Like,
Mhm.
why can't we just make Falcon and Bucky more front-facing characters in future Avengers movies, where maybe
I'll give you that.
Falcon or Bucky are one of them is Captain America?
Yeah. I
Maybe
agree.
this, because it's both of them.
Mhm.
Hear me out. Because the Falcon and Bucky one is actually the one I think has the most legs to stand on,
Yeah.
outside of maybe the Scarlet Witch show, because there were
I picked something
rumors-
last week, and I was like, if you get Shane Black to do like a Lethal Weapon style, right?
Bucky
That's the
Falcon.
only
Yeah,
thing that
Bucky
I'd be
Falcon,
down. And people were like, but he did the Predator. I'm
Bucky
like,
Sam.
yeah, but like,
Don't
watch
worry
the
about
nice
it.
guys.
Yeah, and the Predator was chopped up by.
Yeah,
you could
Fox.
tell Fox
Yeah.
freaked out
Yeah.
and stuff.
But
But
watch the nice guys.
But what if they are not planning to do a Captain America 4 for a while,
Sure.
but
Uh-huh.
maybe another Avengers movie, maybe something called the New Avengers or
Uh-huh.
whatever. And in the meantime, this show, Bucky Falcon,
Right.
is about Steve Rogers handing them both the shield
Mm-hmm.
and being like,
Fight.
"You're Captain. you're both Captain America."
Yeah.
No, just fight.
Basically, fight.
Yeah.
You're both Captain America.
Yeah.
And maybe the show could start with Bucky being the next Captain America, as like when
Right.
he was Cap.
Or maybe
with
one of
Falcon
them
being
saying,
Falcon.
"I don't want this.
Yeah.
You take it."
And then
type
both of
of-
them just be like a show that is about them taking over from Steve, because Steve's like,
Mhm.
"I'm going to retire,
Mhm.
like I'm done," and so it's them being Captain America or figuring it out. And at the end of it, like Bucky hands it to Falcon.
Right.
Mhm.
And he's like, "You're Cap. You have to be it." And then
Right.
Captain America 4 comes out, except it's just Falcon, like years from now.
But that's the
so
thing,
it could
though.
be one of these bridging the gap shows.
They've
you know?
never made a show that's essential viewing, though. That would make that show essential viewing.
True.
And everything that they've put out so far, you could have skipped everything on Netflix
And,
and
Agents
all
of
the
S.H.I.E.L.D..
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and
Absolutely true.
Peggy Carter and all that stuff.
But there's never been a show
wouldn't
made by
affected it.
Marvel Studios
Yeah.
making a
True,
show. It's all been
true,
ABC
yeah,
television.
yeah.
Marvel Entertainment.
This
yeah.
is supposed to be
Right, right.
Kevin Feige being like, "Huh, you guys think you can do TV? All right,
Mhm.
we're gonna do TV shows."
Yeah.
So
Right,
it could
right.
all be.
It's possible.
know?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but
Yeah.
I don't think at this point in the Marvel universe that they would make that show
Mhm.
essential viewing, especially on a new platform. Like like I said, I don't
For
doubt
sure.
that it's going to do well, but I feel like it's kind of a risky move on a new platform, making it essential viewing
Well,
for
sure.
something that's so well established outside of it.
I get that. Well, here's this though. Like, this is gonna be the way to get people to sign up, because
Totally.
this
Very true,
franchise has a
very true.
huge fan base. Secondly,
Yeah.
even I don't think any of their movies. They'll say that they're all essential viewing,
Mhm.
but like each one of their movies are smart. Winter Soldier opens with Steve Rogers from World War II. He goes to the fucking museum. He learns
Yeah.
about Bucky. Like you're like
Yeah.
you're caught up. Thor Ragnarok opens with a play
Mhm.
covering the events of Thor: The Dark World.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Which
they'll
is the best.
like-
They still know
Yeah.
how to catch you
they
up.
still know how to
Right,
catch you
right,
up. So
right.
I picture a show where they do have like the adventures of
Mhm.
Steve or the adventures of Sam and Bucky. But then if Captain America,
God, I hope it's
like-
called that.
if Captain America
That'd
like
be great.
Falcon comes out
Yeah.
at the beginning of that movie, they'll basically recap, or they'll basically get audiences to be like, I haven't seen any of these since Avengers 4.
Yeah.
What's going on? And then like
Yeah.
Sam will say, they'll catch you up somehow.
in a smart
and,
way.
and
Yeah.
audiences will go, oh, that would have been cool to see what. And then somebody will go, yeah, it was the show.
Yep.
Get Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'll just get Disney Plus. And then that's what they want.
Yeah.
So, I think they've done a good job of any movie you go in. They'll even Spider-Man: Homecoming. Here's
Yeah.
what happened in Civil
Sure.
War,
Yeah.
right? Black
That's
Panther.
true.
Here's what happened in Civil War. Now you're caught up.
Yeah.
So
What's
Um,
that? What
yeah.
was that $12 tip we got?
This is
Hector?
from Jada. Thank you so much for the $12 tip. Hey guys, hope you had a kick-ass week so far. Concerning the Loki show, who would you want to see play Lady Loki? Also, if
It's
we were to
green.
if we were to get Kid Loki, do you think Marvel would include Icole on the show?
is that like his dog or something?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Possibly.
How do you spell that? I'll Google it.
IKOL.
IKOL. I think it is. I think it's like his big demon dog or something. Or maybe I'm wrong. Ava Green would be female Tom Hiddleston for me from Casino Royale.
Oh.
And
Why did I just think of Ava DuVernay?
Ava
I
DuVernay.
was like, she's gonna act now.
Ava
What?
DuVernay is stepping out from behind
Yeah.
the camera. She is Loki.
Ava Green would be perfect.
Ava Green would be perfect. And then for Kid Loki, you just got to get a 13-year-old British kid.
Mm-hmm.
Who's really good, and they're good at finding kid actors, man.
Yeah.
They're good at it.
Yeah, I
So
can't think of a
crush it.
kid actor off
And,
the top of my
dude,
head, but
I pitched this to Keller because he was also like, he's like, the Asgardians are dead. They can't come back. And I was like, Keller, but if Thor brings them all back, Taika Waititi comes back, Taika comes back. Y'all have seen The Hunt for the Wilder People?
Oh, yeah, I have.
Augie has. Okay, Hunt for the Wilder People is Sam Neill
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and the kid from Deadpool 2,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
What if Thor 4 becomes about Thor bringing all the Asgardians back, but specifically Loki as a kid, and then it's Thor and kid Loki, and he's basically trying to raise him, and it's Thor trying to be a dad. And Keller was like, dude, that'd be amazing. Taika would crush that. It'd be so funny. And he was like, Taika would find this little shit of a kid that would just be so funny. And I was like, yes,
pretty funny.
that'd be great. That's your movie right there.
Yeah,
that's
that
Thor
would be pretty
4.
cool.
Thor God of Thunder.
That could be interesting.
So Icole is another version of a Loki, basically. So it's Loki spelled backwards.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
But what is it?
Blvd was saying that was the Raven version of Loki.
Oh, okay. I mean, they could do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have also been. I think this is maybe a little bit tricky, but if they wanted to do a story that's set in Asgard, I would have maybe been intrigued to do maybe like the Warriors 3.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
Dude,
like even if they did like young Odin.
we need to do. This is part of my idea. We
We
need to.
don't spoil the whole
We need
plan.
to keep all this shit to ourselves. Adam, can I talk to you for a second?
don't tell me.
Adam,
Okay.
can I talk to you for a second?
Uh-huh.
We just need to come up with all these pitches because
Yeah.
there are so many characters in the MCU that we could come up with great pitches for, to do
Don't
deserving of shows.
tell me what
Absolutely, let's not.
Don't tell Disney.
Okay,
Whatever you do,
let's
don't
not
tell
Disney.
Disney.
Okay,
Hey.
And we're back.
Good stuff is
but
happening.
I want to do that because it's fun. I
Yeah.
want to basically just run through, starting from Iron Man 1 and be like, who's deserving? Oh, War Machine could have a show, and just like go through every character that's like, fuck, like characters that I think could basically hold their own for a small miniseries, or even if I would love this if Marvel used the Disney Plus thing to be like, we're bringing back the one shots, where it's just a 15-minute mini movie.
Yeah.
You know,
Bring back like
one character.
maybe you could do some sort of like short, not necessarily like a series, but maybe some sort of like short story or something similar to like Gendy's Clone War. I guess it would be like the Marvel one
It's
shots.
the one shots.
If
where
do
it's
like Abomination.
Oh
and
my
like, you know what I
fucking
mean?
god! They could like knock out some Hulk shit in those. They could be like, hey, what's up, man? I'm Korg. This is me. They get a one shot. Like, do you know what I'm saying? There's just a ton of them. There's
the original Guardians.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just like or like this, I mean,
Stakar?
this idea that we
Stakar,
just
yeah.
got a tip from.
From
Whoa.
Jesse, thank you so much for the $10 tip. Hey guys, how about the Loki miniseries where he ran for U.S. office as the basis for the series?
That'd be great.
Bill Jackson did a cosplay as
he did the
president.
Yeah, like
Loki
that's
for
right.
president.
the president candidate. Loki.
Shout out to Bill
Yeah.
Jackson if you still
Bill
watch the
Jackson.
show.
Bill Jackson. Good old
I would
Bill
love
Jackson.
that.
Yeah.
I would love that.
If you guys don't know, it's he's a cosplayer named Loki Hates You, and
That's right.
go look for him.
He's
He
so
looks
great.
just like
We work
Tom
with
Hiddleston.
him.
Yeah,
Nicest guy.
great friend.
But
great friend of
I
guys.
mean, that's kind of where the Disney streaming service is at. I know we
Yeah.
spent a lot of time talking about it, but you know, Cassian Andor, anything that deals with an already existing character who's been explored in a movie or a series of movies, I'm not super excited for it. I need to be convinced by the series. I'm more than willing to be convinced. I'm not going to go into it thinking like I just don't want this. Don't give this to me.
Right.
Because even Han Solo, as much as like there are issues with that movie, there are things about it that I still enjoyed that I was like, oh, okay, surprisingly, like I like this. Like this is cool.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping I'm won over by all these things. I would like to explore new things that we haven't explored. And I think that's sort of Marvel, where Marvel Phase 3 really won me over. And I think it started with the Winter Soldier. And we saw sprinkles of it in Phase 1. But I think it was like Winter Soldier and then going to Phase 3 where you had a Black Panther movie that's so unique from Thor Ragnarok,
sure,
that's so
for
unique from Spider-Man Homecoming, that's so unique from Infinity War. I'm like, okay, this is where I want the Marvel universe
what a
to go.
solid dude. 2017 and 2018 was fucking solid.
Really
Like,
solid,
That's why they made all the
And that's
money
what I
in the
wanted to
world.
continue to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2016 started strong, but it was like Winter Soldier Part 2 with
Yeah.
Civil War,
Yeah.
which is dope. But and then it went Doctor Strange. It's like, it's okay. All right.
Yeah.
I really
Okay.
enjoyed Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange is
Yeah.
dope. But
Yeah.
but when we
It
start
feels a little like cookie cutter.
a little bit.
A little
'cause
bit, yeah.
It's like Doctor Strange, Ant-Man, and Iron Man 1. I'm like, these are the same movies, just like
little
reskinned.
little
yeah.
bit, but
Yeah.
2017 was like Guardians 2. I was like, oh, colors.
Yeah.
Spider-Man. Oh shit, this is a teen movie and it's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
Thor. Fucking Jack Kirby
Yeah.
explosion.
Yeah.
Panther. Oh my god.
Yep.
Oh my god. And then Infinity War.
Yeah.
And it's
Even Ant-Man with the
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm like,
different from those two.
yeah, you know, like it's
Right.
not as like big, and I don't think as many, but like there are things
Luis,
that-
give him a fucking show,
That's
dude.
right.
Come on,
oh my
dude.
God. Just recapping everything
on,
that
dude.
happens.
The most
Every-
underserved.
Those guys, him and T.I. and
Yeah.
and David
His whole crew.
Smallchin.
This is a
his whole business.
this is a crazy pitch. It'll never happen. It's too wild. They'll never do it. But it would be funny if every episode was Luis recounting some event that happened in the Marvel Universe, and they like reenact it.
That'd be great.
And it's all done with like all the actors in the
damn.
MCU.
He just
With
needs
the
a short.
wigs.
And it's just
He
like
needs
his
like a
version
10-minute
of these
short.
events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like his version of
So
Civil
dope.
War, his version of the Sokovia Accord, like something ridiculous.
Right,
They'll
right,
never
right.
do it because
You know, it would be cool if they started out with a 10-minute short of him recapping everything, and then like at the end. But then it ended up really cool, and he puts on a mask and he grows into Giant Man.
yeah.
And he's just like,
You're going to give me an erection. Stop it.
There needs to be something with Luis recap.
Come
like,
on,
even if
it's
they made it as like a
Michael Peña.
YouTube video,
Yeah.
if it's just him recapping the entire Marvel universe.
The Dora Milaje show.
Yeah.
the
Duh.
Dora Milaje
Nowhere
show was
Series
Killmonger?
Cosmo.
Killmonger would be. That's another one that I'm like, I think Michael B. Jordan crushed it.
Mhm.
I got what I wanted out of
Me
that. Like
too. Me
that
too.
character, I'm
Ulysses
like,
Claw,
I got it.
maybe? But it's like, what
Maybe,
do you do?
but
What do you do? What's interesting?
Basically, here's what's interesting to me. You bring him back later as a being made of sound. And he's really not an interesting character.
Mhm.
Ulysses Claw is a racist. Like that, and he hates
Yeah.
Black
Mhm.
Panther and Wakanda. Like,
Mhm.
and Killmonger's very interesting, but that movie did him justice.
Yeah.
The Dora Milaje,
Yeah.
you could do more
Yeah.
with them.
Right.
That's
Plus, there's like
Absolutely.
the cool thing, the thing that I love about Thor and Black Panther.
yeah,
There's generations of history.
yes,
You can do a series on T'Chaka.
yes.
You can do a series on
Oh,
Odin.
and what?
You know what I
and-
mean?
Oh my God! And they got that wonderful actor to play him
Right.
in the '90s.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's
and guess
what
what?
I
That'd be
would think.
so
the Dora
dope.
Milaje is still there.
Yeah,
Like,
Blade-
they've
yes.
been there
Blade would be
for
cool.
decades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're there. So there's so
Con-
many
security
different things.
series,
to do.
That's
yeah.
the type of stuff that I'm into because
Look
it's
at
like
Justin says, "Come on, guys, move on already."
Hey, Justin,
You know
shut
what?
up. Shut up,
No.
Justin.
we're passionate
geeking
about
out.
this.
You know what
damn
else?
it.
You shut your mouth.
Fucking Damage Control. Give that a show, right? From Spider-Man: Homecoming. That's a show in and of itself, right there.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh my God.
Aunt May. Aunt May needs her own
Aunt
show.
May, Marissa Tomei.
That's right.
Yeah, we
Sony
need
was gonna
Aunt
do
May
it. Just
needs her own
take
show.
just
Just
take
Larb.
Sony's
Yeah.
I would
anime
love
spy
that.
movie series.
I would love that. I would love something from her perspective. Again, a one
Yeah.
shot. Marissa Tomei.
That would be really
maybe
cool.
she holds up a framed picture of Tom Hanks and she's like, "Oh, Ben," and we're like, "Will you please, Uncle Ben?"
Oh,
that'd be a great
really
way
dope.
that'd be a great thing
Yeah.
to see.
Uh,
There's so much shit you could do,
There is.
Yeah.
dude.
Let's talk about another very
I
exciting
just
property.
to spite Justin, give me one more. Just give
One
me
more,
A
one
Ned
more.
more.
movie. We need a Ned
Oh, a
short.
Ned Leeds
Come
movie?
on,
Guy in the
dude.
guy in the chair.
Yeah, he's the guy in the
Guy in
chair.
the chair. I
Yeah.
would love the coach from Spider-Man: Homecoming to
Martin
have
Starr?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
No,
who was
not
it?
Martin Starr. He's a teacher. Hannibal
Hannibal
Buress.
Buress.
Hannibal to have
Dude.
one shot. Where he's just like he actually
Can we
beats
team up?
Captain
Can we
America.
team up
Hannibal would be
Hannibal
amazing.
Buress and Michael Pena?
Please,
That'd
yes.
be
Or
amazing.
Hannibal Buress actually like something happens in New York and Captain
Right.
America. He actually meets
Right.
Captain America once. And he's like,
Oh,
"Oh my
shit.
God, you're in my TV. You're on the TV.
Yeah, you're
I'm
on the
my-
TV,
you're
guy."
my coach."
What would be also really good is
It's like,
watching
Citizen. Watch out.
watching all those Captain America shorts where
Yes.
like where he
Oh,
pops up
get
on the
Chris
TV at the
Evans.
gym.
Watch
yeah.
them all. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh my
and watch
God.
all of those put together. There's so much shit
Hannibal
you can do.
Buress PE teacher spinoff.
Dude.
A new Marvel original series.
Shocker
That'd
would
be
be dope.
amazing. Yeah.
Shocker would be cool.
Yeah.
But I want Shocker and other Sinister Six to be a movie. This is
Mhm.
this is the opportunity to be like those fringe characters, those side characters and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think you need to read that.
Hector, it's gonna flip the table with an erection if you don't stop it, guys.
Yeah,
50
that's
bucks.
true.
Sam Cohen, thank you so much. Sam,
He understands us.
50 MX. Is that
That's
pesos?
pesos, yeah.
50
Yeah,
pesos.
50
Thank you so
pesos,
much.
yep.
That's
Thank you
amazing.
so much.
It's gonna flip
So,
the table.
Pesos go straight to my heart.
That's
Thank
right.
you. To my corazón.
Yep.
So moving on from Disney Plus, I'm sure everyone is very excited about Disney Plus, but
Yeah.
as we get more information, we'll continue to talk about it.
Right.
I want to talk about this because this is actually very exciting. This is something that we've been talking about, I think, behind closed doors for a while,
Mhm.
that we've been excited for. We touched on it once on a previous episode. Robert Rodriguez was going to be doing this. It is no longer happening, but Warner Brothers has hired Chris McKay, the director of the Lego Batman movie.
Not
to
Adam
take on-
McKay.
not Adam McKay. Very different movie. Yeah, very different movie. It'd probably still be good, but like very different tonally.
Mhm.
Chris McKay is going to be taking on Johnny Quest.
This makes me so
This
happy.
is going to be
Y'all know how much I
rad.
love Lego Batman.
Dude,
And
I own it in 4K
Yes.
and 3D,
And Chris
and I love
McKay-
both versions.
Chris McKay is a fantastic director.
Yeah.
he is.
Fantastic director. And it is so clear how much he loves Batman. I can't wait to see a Johnny Quest where it will be obvious that he loves Johnny Quest.
Yeah.
Here's my one person I need to be involved in this
Mhm.
movie. Can you guys take a guess?
We tried before the show, and I can't.
I'll give you a hint. It's behind the camera, so not an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And
I figured it was
is-
someone on the crew. I
it-
want to say
yes.
composer, but like Michael Giacchino.
Yes, you
Oh,
nailed it.
Hell yeah!
If Michael fucking Kino is not the composer for
Which
Johnny
is his
Quest,
legal name.
Dude,
I need to have that.
because
theme.
think about The Incredibles.
Yeah,
Think about
Yeah.
its roots and its
Yeah.
heart. Giacchino,
I just watched it last night. I love
Giacchino
it so much.
grew up on this Hanna-Barbera
Yeah,
shit. He
that's
grew up
true.
on these classic cartoons. He
Yeah.
loves Speed Racer. He
That's
loves
true.
he
yeah.
and he did the score for Speed Racer. So like he loves this stuff. I guarantee you he loved Johnny Quest when he was a kid. I guarantee you.
Yeah.
You give him Johnny Quest to make a swinging 60s, whether the movie takes place in the
Sure.
60s or even not, to get that vibe, that is the thing that's going to make it come together. It doesn't matter who's playing the characters. It doesn't matter who's what the
score will,
score is
like,
going to be.
the
The
bow.
score it will make it Johnny Quest to have that that kind of thing, where you get the introduction.
Yeah.
Ba-da-bum,
Lots of bongos.
bum, 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 theatrically.
Yeah.
I found an orchestrated version of that new
Yeah.
The New Adventures of Johnny Quest?
The Real Adventures.
The Real Adventures of Johnny Quest.
Which
I
is-
found an
yeah.
orchestrated version of that theme, and like
It's
I
epic.
played it on loop because
It's
it's so
epic.
good.
But Giacchino would make that like.
Yeah.
And like you just be like, oh shit.
That's the sound of him tingling
incredible.
his jingles.
Yeah.
Just tickling your taint.
I'll be in the
Just
theater like,
tickling your
Hector's in
oh
the
my
seat going,
god,
oh god,
oh
god,
Johnny Quest.
the feelings.
So
tickle my taint.
Gross,
Giacchino,
right?
tickle my taint.
I need to start like an online campaign to like
Just
to,
tweet
like,
'em.
Just I'm just gonna tweet it at Chris right now, dude. I'm gonna tweet it.
Tweet
Right
it right
now.
now. Tweet it right now.
But
Dude.
so yeah, and Johnny Quest to me is like, as a kid growing up, it was such a fun series. It was just a fun adventure series. It had a little bit of like that Indiana Jones sort of flavor to
For
it,
sure.
but it was cool because it was a kid and his adopted brother and his dad and like their guard or their I guess bodyguard. I don't know, race band, and I guess
Yes.
it's gonna be like their bodyguard. But
Because
it was just
Dr. Benton Quest was like wanted by
Yeah.
evil people. Like he's very famous and he was
Yeah.
a valuable scientist and he's always traveling around the world and
Yeah.
like other countries were trying to kidnap
And I
him
think
and
that's
shit.
like, to me, I think it's a cool. Johnny Quest is one of those opportunities where Warner Brothers can make something that is based on a cartoon or a pre-existing property that they own that is very much like an all audiences sort of thing. And I think that's what Johnny Quest needs to embrace. It's not, let's make Johnny Quest gritty and for adults. Like, no. Make it so it's accessible for everyone.
Yeah.
Yes.
Essentially, Star Wars it. Like Star
Yeah.
Wars to me, for the most part, like all those movies are very like Solo. I think tonally, Solo I think is like a great sort of. I think it's sort of the best of both worlds, where it's has a lot of adult characters, but it's fun and it's got adventure and
for
it's
the
got
masses.
yeah.
it's
Like I
definitely
think
for
that's
the
what Johnny
masses.
Quest sort of needs to really embrace. Like, don't try to make it like your DC movies. Let those be completely their own thing, because it's not that.
I am,
agree.
I'm 34 years old, and I've never seen Johnny Quest.
Oh, really,
Yeah.
dude?
I didn't even know.
You
I
watch-
didn't know Johnny Quest was a thing until I saw Venture Bros, and I was like, why does this look like an
Oh.
old show? And then I was like, oh, they're copying Johnny Quest, and then Johnny Quest. I was like, where was this when I was little? Well, we didn't have cable.
It
or
was
anything
on.
growing
It
up,
was on
so-
Cartoon Network as a kid.
Oh,
yeah.
that's why.
Because
Because I didn't.
it's
I
from
didn't
the
have cable.
60s.
Right.
And when I used to watch Cartoon Network, I watched, it was like Scooby-Doo, Jetsons,
Right,
Johnny
right,
Quest
right.
was one of those things.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, immediately. And plus, I think like as a kid, you connect with him because he is a kid.
Right.
So like for
right.
me now, yes, I will connect with Johnny, but
Mhm.
also like I'd be more invested in what Dr. Benton Quest and like Race Bannon are as characters.
Right.
Which like Race was like a cool character because
Yeah.
he was kind of like that badass like adult, or like that badass uncle
Yeah,
that like
yeah.
you have or you
Yeah.
wish you had. So I think that's what's really intriguing about Johnny Quest, and like, yeah, man, it just was like a fun adventure series.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it not to get too obvious with it, but
Uh-huh.
I'm going to get political with it. Like
Uh-huh.
it could be a very necessary and needed movie
Mhm,
to
mhm.
show to try to navigate some of the kind of baked in racism and racist tropes of the old 60s show,
yeah.
Right.
but to really lean into characters,
Mhm.
make Johnny about that age,
Yeah.
make him the main character,
Mhm.
him and Haji kind of co-leads, and
Yeah, yeah.
and less on the adult characters, like you're saying. Don't make
Yeah.
it gritty, but do a show where this kid like falls in love with this other kid, Haji. They're brothers,
Yeah.
and then Haji's parents die,
Mhm.
and like
Mhm.
and they want Benton to and they're brothers,
Adopt them.
and
Yeah.
like, just the Johnny Haji relationship. If they pull that off,
Mhm.
you'll have a movie about a little white kid who has a brother who just
Mhm.
happens to be brown from
Mhm.
another, and like that
Yeah.
could be important right now. Do
Totally.
you know what I mean?
Oh,
you,
yeah,
you,
absolutely.
You could Chris McKay could tell that story and
Yeah.
deliver that message in
Yeah.
a way that will make people feel something.
With the
Totally.
Giacchinos tickling the
Oh my
ivories
God,
in the
and
background.
he could make you cry with those little those little piano drops.
Just a
You know,
single stroke of a piano key.
Just like when
Uh.
Galen Erso's like, my little stardust. And Jin Erso's like, Papa. Like that shit, but with Johnny Quest.
And Haji.
And Haji. It could be a lot more deep, is what I'm saying, than the old
yeah,
60s show,
yeah.
which never was that, by investing in
What if they
characters.
changed his dad into
Characters.
his mom? That would be pretty cool too.
Well, Real Adventures of Johnny Quest brought in Jessie,
Yeah.
who was Race's daughter, because it was there's no females on the show,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
is a problem.
Mhm.
However, I'm not trying to be like, no girls allowed. You could, as long as
You say that all the time when you're not
I
on
do.
camera, Hector.
As long as you look at that story and you
Yeah.
try to, the director and everybody tries to tell a story about what it means to be a man, what it means to be a young boy, and to talk about how to navigate the world in a good and healthy way. What I'm saying is they could show a story that has a lot, like a story that a kid, he's got 2 great male role models, and that's okay. It's not weird. It's not, it's not gay. And even if it is gay, who fucking cares? Like, it's not a big deal.
Right.
But it's like it's something that could be very, very positive from the typical stuff we get with male-centric action-adventure movies. You know what I'm saying? You could get family with
Father-son
it,
roles,
emotional father-son. That's Benton and Johnny. And Race is like Dr. Benton Quest's like best fucking friend. And Race would die for this kid. So Race loves him too. It's like Alfred.
It's like an uncle.
It's an uncle. It's exactly. It's like a second dad. It's like, I love this kid. And then you bring in another young boy, another son
who went through a tragedy.
You could just it could do something with, if the movie decides to be like, we're not going to add characters that weren't in the 60s show to better represent the world. We're going to say, this movie does have like young boy characters and their father figures, but let's actually go into that instead of just having a surface level action movie, that's not what it's going to be. Even Batman, Lego Batman, which is the silliest thing ever, went into the psychology of Bruce Wayne, Dick Grayson. You know what I mean? Like, there were moments where
Lego movie.
It was silly, but your moments you're like, that's pretty spot on.
It
with
had
Bruce
some of
and
the
Dick
best
Grayson.
They had some of the best Batman character moments ever.
I'm tweeting at this fool right now. I'm tweeting at him.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was a couple of people who were like, I never saw Johnny Quest. I wasn't a fan of Johnny
that's
Quest.
Not me.
This other thing too is like, a lot of these old shows, you look at them now and you're like, I really like, this is weak sauce. But there is a way to take these things and make them cool in a movie.
Right. Because
you're adding a modern.
There was
twist
something
to it.
that sparked that fandom back in the day, and I'm sure you caught it, and Hector, you definitely caught it.
Yeah.
It's just you saw what's cool in that character. Now it's. I mean, I hate to like reinforce this reboot culture that we're in right now, but maybe this is a show that could use a reboot.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, it's definitely something
I love Johnny
that's right
Quest.
up.
I'm never going to defend it as being like, it's fine the way it is. I'm update that shit.
Yeah.
Make it better. Make it better. But the reason I fell in love with the reruns when I was a kid, because Real Adventures of Johnny Quest was dope, but even the original was
Late
like
90s,
the music, the look of the show, the style. They're
Mm-hmm.
flying around in a jet. It's James Bond, but it stars a kid.
Yeah.
That's what hooked me. So it's like, just do that.
Yeah. Totally.
Man, I love Johnny Quest, man.
So last 2 things we're going to do is we're going to look at these new posters from Aquaman, which I'm honestly getting more and more excited about this movie. There was a test screening that happened a few days ago.
It's pretty
a
positive.
lot of positive responses coming out of
yeah.
it. They're doing a whole sort of like global fan event for
Right.
Aquaman. The movie's going to premiere at a comic convention in Brazil. James Wan announced that the production of the movie is officially done. Post-production, it's all done. The movie's in the can. These posters were kind of cool. They're pretty ridiculous.
Very, but
like, look, every superhero movie, like all the posters for these movies are kind of whack and ridiculous. But I think what they do is they give you a good sense of the tone, and they really embrace sort of the colorful, bright, I don't know,
it's the
thing.
fantasy. It's the
fantasy
underwater.
element.
It's
Yeah.
like not.
It's a
not
movie
even,
about fish people, guys.
Not even high fantasy. Just fantasy, to just in general. Because you definitely have to come into that mindset when you're going to be watching this movie, because it's about like kings and legacy, but underwater.
Yeah.
But they're not going to really address the fact that you can't speak underwater. They're just probably going to be able to speak underwater. So it's you got to just be in a different mindset.
You have to just disconnect yourself and accept the fact that you are watching a piece of fantasy. Piece of entertainment.
And I think they're doing a good job, especially that 6 or 5 minute clip that we saw with them and it feeling like The Mummy or Indiana Jones. I'm just like, cool. Like, I know
this is what I want.
I know people can't really jump from building to building like that, but I'm cool with seeing these two do
I also
it.
can't speak underwater. Cool.
Right.
I've accepted the fact that this movie is just a fun comic book movie.
Yeah, let's just enjoy this one, and hopefully this is another tentpole for the DC universe movie,
and it
whatever they call it.
It was great to get, like, we've seen like bits and pieces of certain characters. It was cool to just see Black Manta, to just see Queen Atlanta, to see King Nereus and Volko. Like, it's just cool to see these characters.
Yeah, I agree.
And to see what they look like, and seeing a lot of these characters in their armor is super awesome. So
Yeah.
I think the posters look fun. They look great. I want to see. The one thing about marketing that's been happening in a lot of these movies is like I'm always sort of disappointed that we don't get one final poster that has all the characters on it. That's
Right.
very Drew Struzan-ish.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I love those types of posters.
Especially
I
when
do
it comes
too.
to comic book movie. I think
Yeah.
Justice League had a couple of rad posters.
They did, yeah.
Justice League had some great
Yeah.
art stuff, but it's like, why don't y'all hire
Get commission Alex Ross
Alex
to do
Ross.
it. Come on,
That's the word I
What
was
the
saying.
fuck?
Those are the words I was. That kind of thing.
That's the only person who should be doing every single comic book poster that's
Mhm.
out.
If they got Alex
what if
Ross
Jim
to do,
Lee did one? You know what I
Oh,
mean?
I
like,
know.
Oh my god.
but spent like 30 hours on it, and it was
Yeah.
like.
like these things are
Because
cool.
you know how fast he can draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
firsthand.
Like,
don't give me a 30-second Batman.
these
Give
things
me a-
are fun, but like they are very photoshopped.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
You know, and it's like cool.
Absolutely.
It's just meant to sort of like give you an idea of like, hey, this is fun. Like we're embracing the fact that this character has a big green and orange costume.
Right.
Black
right.
Manta is very much sort of embracing the comic book elements of it.
Well,
all that sort of
I
stuff.
like taking a step back from the monitor because we have a little tiny monitor up here,
Yeah.
and just stepping back, it feels like it's straight out of a comic book.
Yeah.
It does.
Boom,
It's
boom, boom,
it's
boom.
straight up.
It's like
comic book
alternate
poses.
comic book
yeah.
covers
Yeah,
of
they're
DC
they're
Comics
definitely
issues.
comic book
cool.
poses. It's
Yeah.
very classic. You know, if you know comic book art or have even looked at a comic book, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it looks like, and which is great because I feel like
Oh,
especially
here's some
from
more.
there's some more from the
Yeah.
first reactions, people are
Volko.
talking about how James Wan knocked it out of the park and how he
I
should be
can't
getting
wait.
more movies, and
Totally.
I'm so excited to watch this one
Yeah.
now because
and I agree with the. Oh no, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say because of that. So,
Yeah, and I
yeah.
agree with the chat room. Like the Den of Geek cover that was at Comic-Con, a beautiful like
yeah,
commissioned piece
yeah.
of artwork that has all the characters
Justice
on it.
League
Right.
or
Of
Aquaman?
Aquaman. I'm
Right
like,
on.
yeah, make that into like the official poster. Do
Yeah.
it. Just make that the poster.
yeah,
I want to see more of that sort of stuff.
yeah, I
And
agree.
Marvel does the same thing. They have all these posters like are very much character posters.
Mhm.
I think their collage posters are pretty good, but like there hasn't really been one that I'm like, this is the best. Infinity War was like a very busy poster, which I get
Yeah.
because there's a lot of characters in it.
Yeah.
But I want to see something that's more sort of in the vein of Drew Struzan. Even Star Wars has gotten away from that.
Yeah.
I would say the posters for The Last Jedi, like the main poster, was sort of my favorite one that's come out of the new Star
the
Wars movies.
red and the
Yeah, like I
that was
like
great.
that.
That was great.
That was
yeah.
really, really cool.
because
But
Force Awakens was very like basic. You're like,
Collagey.
right,
okay.
right, right.
yeah, yeah.
for sure.
We got a
I'm
$5.
excited. Yeah, and this $5 tip came from Aaron. Thank you so much. Yo, Hyper Homies, Ben Affleck, Jason Momoa, and Ray Fisher will be at San Antonio Celebrity Fan Fest. What might Ben promote if he may not be Batman anymore? I have no clue.
I mean,
No
you-
idea.
I guarantee he's still
Um,
gonna sign Batman stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah.
like those cons are they
That's what
make
they're all
they make
about.
a ton of money.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I'm just
yeah.
hoping he's well by that point. Like,
yes, I hope he's doing
I'm
good.
just hoping
He-
he's fine
he,
at this
he went
point.
to set of some movie. I forgot
he
what
really?
it was. Yeah, he was
Okay,
showing
okay,
up on
that's good.
set and like,
Oh, he was also at the Dodgers game, sitting next to Matt.
Was he really?
oh Matt Damon.
Acevedo.
Matt Acevedo?
What?
Yeah. Matt, you still
I
here?
was like,
Matt,
I was like,
get over here.
His best friend Goodwill Hunting, Matt Damon.
Yeah.
No,
Matt
Acevedo?
Acevedo,
Matt,
who's in
get
our
over
kitchen.
here.
No, it wasn't Ben Affleck. It was some guy that looked like Ben
Yeah.
Affleck.
You went to the Dodgers game and sat next to Ben Affleck with your dad?
Come here and talk about it. You got to come here and talk about it.
Like next to wait. Like literally sat next to him? Yeah. Did you talk to him? Yeah. No shit.
All right.
Oh wait. Oh, that's right because you went to the
World Series.
World Series with your dad and it was awesome.
Yeah, it was cool, man.
That's great.
He's just a regular dude.
It's just a
Who
dude,
would have
yeah.
thought?
When he was there with his kids and Jennifer Garner,
Yeah.
and like it's cool they're doing co-parenting.
They're
doing
co-parenting.
co-parenting.
Yeah.
They're still
Um,
parents, y'all.
Yeah.
My dad said I'm not supposed to talk about this, so I'm gonna.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
cool. The World Series ended, so it's fine.
Keep talking
You
about
better
it.
listen to the chief. Listen
Yeah.
to the chief.
I know. Yeah, your
Here
dad's
comes
gonna,
the chief. He's gonna kill you.
Tell him
dad's
we
gonna
said
come
hi.
in from Texas
He's
and
the best. He's
arrest
the
you.
best.
Look at him. He's sweating now.
He's like, I shouldn't have. You tweeted it out, man. You're the
I
picture.
know.
Come on.
But like the picture was like we're at the game.
For sure.
Uh huh.
Dude.
It's not bragging.
Matt,
Brag
It's
about
not
it.
bragging.
you said,
It's not.
Matt,
Come on,
it's
man.
fine.
Yeah, man.
It's a cool
cool.
insider story.
Yeah.
Is what it
It's
is.
not like you went and you were like, we talked about Batman stuff.
Yeah.
Matt, tell us. Oh,
Yeah.
I can't tell you.
Minzui texted me, and because he knew I was there, and like me and him, like we're good friends, and like I told him like, oh yeah, it's pretty weird, and he's like he sent me a quote, and it was like as if my dad leaned in. It was like, my son really likes Batman.
Oh my God.
I'm glad that did not happen. That's
Jesus.
great.
I'm glad that's not
great.
a real thing.
Can you
That's so
imagine if
funny.
that would have Ben Affleck probably would have been like,
Oh
I
my
gotta
God, he probably
go.
would have just
I
punched you in the
gotta
face.
go.
So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So funny.
But yeah, I mean, those celebrities go and they sign things, and they
Yeah.
I think they expect to be bombarded with a million questions
Of course,
Batman,
of course.
Batman,
Brutal.
Batman,
And
Batman.
he
Tough.
probably is just like, hey guys, come on.
Yeah, for
But
real.
you know what?
Exactly.
I will say this. This is how I know when people are pieces of shit on the internet that they know they're being pieces of shit on the internet. Most of the time, when celebrities or actors go to those events, most of the time, the people that come up are the people that are like, I love that movie you were in. It was
Right,
so
right,
great.
right.
Can you please sign this? So great to meet you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much. Another person comes up and they'll say, hey, the thing you did really got me through a tough time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Like, it's mostly positive. People are
Right.
not going to get in line to be
Right.
like, watch this.
Watch this.
Worst
Hey,
Batman.
fuck you, Ben Affleck.
No, because you know you're being a dick and you would never say
Yeah.
that to people's faces.
And you're
Yeah.
gonna get punched.
Yeah,
One of
dude.
these times, you're gonna get punched.
Yeah, dude.
Ben
so
Affleck's gonna
I
knuckle
fe-
sandwich you
I
real
feel
good.
like
knock you
that's
one.
what I'm saying is for the most part, with all of those actors, Ray
Yep.
Fisher, everybody, like it'll be a mostly positive experience. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Final thing of the night. We're gonna watch this trailer for Spider-Man Into
Oh,
the
yeah,
Spider-Verse.
let's do it.
Cannot wait for
Let's
this
do this.
freaking movie.
Cannot
I'm
wait.
very excited right now.
Oh,
Lucas,
okay.
just tell me when you're ready. All right,
Oh,
let's
he's
go.
ready.
My name is Miles Morales, and in my world, I'm the one and only Spider-Man. That is, until he showed up.
And it's a no on the cape.
I think it's cool.
Spider-Man doesn't wear a cape. All right, you ready?
Hey guys,
Who are you?
I'm Gwen Stacy. I'm from another dimension.
How many more Spider people are there?
Hey, fellas.
That's so cool.
This could literally not get any weirder.
It can get weirder. My name is Peter Porker.
I'm supposed to save the whole world.
You can't
$6
think
million
about saving
man
the world.
sound.
You have to think about saving one person. Miles, where did you go?
Can Spider-Man turn invisible?
Not in my universe. Wow, this is incredible. Some kind of fight or flight thing.
What's that? I think this is a cape.
Oh my
That's
god.
awesome.
I know what Spider-Man costume that is. I cannot fucking wait for this movie.
What-
I know
Which one is that?
it is from a universe where Spider-Man was just a show business performer and he had a cape, and I think so was
Oh.
Daredevil, and like he didn't even have powers. Like
Oh,
It was
man.
just a guy in a
this
suit.
This is gonna be the Lego Batman, but for Spider-Man.
sure.
Yeah.
It will be a love letter to all
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
Spidey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am gonna cry.
We're all
I
gonna cry.
am gonna be watching that shit with 3D glasses and just
Immerse
like,
yourself.
Being in
immersing it.
This
in
is
the-
your movie.
Ooh.
This
Like
is-
this
dude.
is
Hector
your movie,
Spider-Man.
Hector.
I cannot wait.
Yeah,
really,
this is it.
the only thing that makes me sad about this movie is that like Marvel Studios didn't do a live action Spider-Verse movie first. That's
Mhm.
it. Because I just want people to love Miles as much as possible. And that opening line, he's like,
Right.
and in my universe, I'm the one and only Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's him.
Yeah.
That's Miles. And I love that version even more so than like unless they kill off Tom Holland. But
Right.
the story in the MCU, as
Right.
it's probably going to pan out, you know, with Donald Glover being like, hey, I got a nephew who lives here.
Right,
That's,
right,
that's
right.
Miles.
Yeah.
And eventually Peter Parker might meet Miles Morales because they're in the same thing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is
They're in the same
lovely. It's
universe,
great.
yeah.
But I love it when it's just Miles.
Mhm.
And you get all the Spider Universe characters, Peter Porker and everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, it looks great. I can't wait. Plus, I think the thing I'm most excited about is you can do a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie easy. You can do
Mhm.
any type of Spider-Man movie easy. But the fact that they took this art style and they
Beautiful.
put it
Yeah.
in there, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
Beautiful.
that is the thing that has really sold me on the
Oh,
movie.
absolutely.
Like Lego sold me because it was a Lego movie.
Yeah.
This Spider-Man movie is selling me because of the animation. It's so it looks so amazing. I
It's
can't
so
wait.
stylized.
It's so stylized.
To me, I look at the aesthetics of it, and I know that it's going to be a movie I love because they're paying attention to every single detail.
Mhm.
Like when Peter Porker comes up, he's not animated like everybody else.
I
He's animated
know.
like a Looney Tune.
Mhm.
I
Like,
love
it's-
that shit.
they paid-
it can
they
get weird.
Exactly. Like he does the Looney Tune
Oh my
movements. Everybody has their own different animation
Mm-hmm.
style. And it's just it blows my mind, and it lets me know that because I wanted to be an animator too.
Yeah.
Lets me know that these people are thinking how I would have thought
Totally.
as an animator.
How do you adapt all the
you
different
know?
styles
Exactly.
and incorporate
They
it?
thought about
I mean,
everything.
it's like the game too. The game has like
Yes.
the animated Spider-Man,
Yes,
and
the
the
game
fact
is
that
so
they like
dope.
incorporated that into a game that basically all the backgrounds when you set it against that looks
Yep.
super photorealistic,
Yep.
and then you have this like random like cartoon Spider-Man. I'm like,
yeah.
that's amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's really
so
really cool.
Thank you so much, Uber Baldy, for the $2 tip. A little bit toward Hector and Zach's Spider Date.
Oh.
You guys gonna hold
Aw.
hands?
Are you guys gonna watch
Zach,
it
you
together?
gonna hold hands?
It's gonna be really special.
Are you gonna watch Spider-Man with Hector?
No, Zach. Is he out there?
No, Zach.
Is Zach out there?
Yeah, get out of
Oh,
here,
he's
Matt.
Get out of here,
Not
Ben
you,
Affleck's
Matt.
no,
best friend.
while you're here, are you gonna watch Into the Spider-Verse with us and hold my hand?
Yeah. Matt.
Of course.
No
Possibly.
idea. No
For
idea.
sure, a goblin. But
There's
I bet you,
gonna be a
I
goblin
bet
in
you
there.
it will be the Inheritors.
We just need to bring Matt on the show because we
I
always
know.
talk to him off camera.
I know we do.
Check out this great tweet I got from Corey Andrew Wright
Read it.
that just said, or Swifty_1. That's Taylor Swift. I never actually watched a lot of #Johnny Quest when I was younger, Hector, but after hearing you talk about it so fervently, I cried. To be perfectly honest, a film that promotes multi-ethnic friendships and same-sex gender guardians seems exactly like what our world needs.
Oh snap, son!
There you go.
Dude, I
There you
tweeted
go.
it.
And Johnny Quest, I think, is now on.
It's on.
Blu-ray?
It's on
Or
DVD at my house, homie. That's what I got.
Season 1, right?
I don't know if it's streaming anywhere, but I got.
No,
I think
but they
the
have
complete,
season 1,
You
yeah.
can get the complete series.
Oh,
on
do they have
DVD.
the complete series now?
Yeah,
I
I'm
think they
sure.
just did a remaster of it or something. That just recently came out. I think it's a remaster or something where
Maybe.
they did some cleanup on it.
Maybe on
Anyway,
Boomerang?
guys, thank you so much for watching. It's
That
been a
is
pleasure.
the show.
It's been a pleasure talking about Disney streaming service for like almost an entire hour.
I know.
It was a lot of
We
fun
got
watching
into
this
it.
trailer. We got really into it, and I think we'll continue to get into it as we learn more about what this streaming service is going to entail, what it's going to have, what these Marvel shows end up being. In the meantime, let us know in the comments. I want to hear from people. I want to know, do you feel like we're being oversaturated with too much of the same stuff
Yeah.
from Disney, whether it's Marvel, Star Wars? What do you want to see that's new? What do you want to see that's different? How would you make series based on some of these characters? What would your take be? I'm very curious to see. And Johnny Quest lovers, I want to hear from you too. We should do some sort of a marathon or something of that
Okay.
show.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've never seen it.
So good.
It's
Yeah.
it's
It's
like a comic book
ridiculous,
come
but
to
so
life
great.
with very little movement. It's just a lot of those cool still
I
images.
I know what to expect out
Doctor.
of the animation.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, it's super great. But thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back next week, and in the meantime, go watch some superhero movies, go read some comic books,
Watch some Johnny Quest.
watch some Johnny Quest.
Yeah,
God
watch
damn
Johnny
it.
Quest for me.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye.